see familiar faces in the crowd, one of our large shareholders, my son Alex, and maybe a future shareholder, my grandson Adam. So Adam, I'm going to try to convince you that this is a good investment. All right, let's go. Forward-looking statements, please read this at your convenience. So let's talk a little bit about Prismo Metals. What is it? How did it come about? And really, the company is the idea of three men that came together. Myself, who has a finance background, law background, so I'm not a geologist, but I know the capital markets very well. I've been in capital markets since 1987. And I had the opportunity to move to Tucson, Arizona. In 2015, I met Dr. Peter McGaw, and him and his family and our family became friends. I met Craig Gibson here, who's on stage with me. Dr. Craig Gibson, also from Tucson, but spends most of his time in Mexico. He's been working there for 35 years. And Craig approached me one day and said, I've got this property called Palos Verdes. Why don't we create together a junior exploration company? I said, I like the idea. Let's talk to our friend Peter, see what he has in mind. And Peter had been sitting on a orogenic gold play called Los Pavitos for years. It was a concept at the time, and he said, I'd like to advance the project. I'd like to work with you guys. And so we created the company 5 years ago with those two projects. And we're going to get into those in more detail in a second. Early 2023, we decided to diversify outside of Mexico and option this hot breccia. Is a large copper prospect. We're kind of neighbors, I just learned. And we, I'm going to get Craig Gibson to come on stage and talk about this project. I'm going to handle the corporate side and Palos Verdes. So let's talk about who we are. We're a right mix, I believe, between successful explorers and people who understand the capital markets. They know how to raise money. They know how to tell the story. And our successful explorers are there. You can see their names. So Peter doesn't need an introduction. Craig. Rafael Gallardo has worked with Peter McGaw in Mexico for decades. Very successful guy. And Steve Robertson, when we optioned the hot breccia project, he became a technical advisor to our company. And we liked him so much that we made him the president in May of this year. And what do we mean by successful explorers? They're talented people, but they're people who have found large deposits and deposits that have become mines. Just on the right side of the slide, we're different than a lot of our peers in a few different ways. We don't have anybody that's on salary. So for those who like Vancouver lifestyle, junior explorers, we're the wrong investment for you. We eat what we kill. So we believe we should have flexible overhead and spend as much money in the ground as we can. And one of the derivative of that is you don't dilute unnecessarily the company. And although we've been public 4 years, we have a healthy share structure with only 54 million shares outstanding. And then the other thing it does is that the founders and the board and management, you retain a significant ownership, so with 28.6%. So we want to make our money the same way you want to make your money is through share appreciation. And how we're going to do that is through the drill bit. Vizsla Silver, talk of the town, great company, great discoveries. There are not only our neighbors in Mexico, but they're our largest shareholders. So let's talk a little bit about that and why Vizsla Silver has such an interest in Prismo Metals. So I mentioned that Palos Verdes, I see I'm going long, sorry Craig. So Palos Verdes, the project that we had when we took the company public, one of the two projects, eventually became surrounded by Vizsla and in the Panuco district, and then on the west side of the district they made their significant discoveries that supports their $700 million market cap. We're on the east side and they surround us on three sides. We have drilled this property. I think we've had 4 campaigns and 6,000 meters. And you can see some of the grades there that we've had. They are Vizsla type grades. And you can see Craig here on the right side by the Palos Verdes vein, which is exposed at surface on certain parts of the property. We are just about to start a next drilling campaign, and this one is going to be 3,000 meters, and it's all going to be staged from Vizsla's property. And that's how really the story began when I approached Mike Connor, the CEO of Vizsla, and said, Mike, you know, we're really excited about the results we're getting in the east side of the district, but you're surrounding us, and we're kind of constrained by the width of our property. And the next phase of drilling, we feel would make sense is if we drilled our property from your property. And I said, in order to do that, also, you know, why don't you make an investment in our company, which they did in 2023. They have a representative of on our board of directors, and we created a technical committee comprised of Craig, Peter McGaw, and Jesus Villador, who's the VPX of Vizsla, and they're looking at this part of the district particularly and come up with the way to systematically advance the projects without regard to, you know, who owns what, really, because if you're going to do what's right geologically, you want to make abstraction of some line, here in this case, yellow line that shows the boundaries. And so we announced in early August that we had mobilized on site, and we have been working hand in hand with the team at Vizsla, and we should have the drill, everything's set up now, and we should have the drill turning in the next couple days. So with that, I'm going to ask Craig to come on stage and talk about this exciting copper project that we have right between Tucson and Phoenix.
Thank you, Alain. Yeah, Robert gave a bit of an introduction to this project in his video there. The Hot Breccia project is located in the Arizona Copper Belt, and this is one of the largest copper belts on the face of the planet. The Hot Breccia project is right in the center of several major ore deposits, mostly mines in production. Morenci is one of the largest ones at 75 billion pounds of endowment of copper. Resolution has been mentioned a few times here. That's about 40 kilometers up the road from our project, and it's one of the most interesting and exploration discoveries in recent times. That project has about 1.8 billion tons at 1.5% copper. I think it's one of the largest unmined resources in the world. The San Manuel deposit is just south of us, about 35 kilometers, and that was North America's first block cave operation. We've been doing work at the project. The section on the right shows a cross-section through our model for Hot Breccia, and the work we've done has shown some certain similarities to resolution. And you know, it's early stage to say we have another resolution, but that's kind of our model for the work we're doing here. Our deposit at Hot Breccia is near a historic producer that Freeport owns at the Christmas mine, and that was a large or a small tonnage but high grade replacement and skarn deposit. It was mined in open pits and in shallow underground workings. So we've seen the mineralization at the surface there in favorable Paleozoic carbonate rocks. And if you look at the right part of that right figure, on the right side, those favorable rocks in blue are downdropped with a green-colored Cretaceous volcanic rock on top of it. And that's the model we have for Hot Breccia. We have the mineralization there covered by probably a volcanic that is roughly the same age as the intrusives in the area. but you can't see the copper mineralization at the surface where we're at, which is one of the reasons it was not discovered and mined in the past. The figure on the left is a simplified cross-section of resolution, and if you take off the orange-colored units here, you can see there's a graben here with a green-colored rock. That's the same rock as we have here. So resolution is located at the contact between those Cretaceous volcanics and the favorable Paleozoic and older rocks underneath it. One difference between the deposits and the model we have is at Hot Breccia, we only have about 400 meters of volcanics overlying where we think the deposit starts. At resolution, if you put those orange-colored units back in there, the top of the deposit is about 1.2 kilometers beneath the surface. That's an example of some of the namesake breccias at the project. They're polylithic breccias. The one on the right, the figure there is polylithic breccia intruding the volcanic rocks that I talked about earlier, composed of fragments of the volcanics, several intrusive phases, and also if you look at the figure on the left, there's a fragment of quartzite in there that is part of that sedimentary sequence that the favorable rocks for mineralization, and that particular fragment we think has been moved upward vertically about 1 kilometer from depth. So these breccias are high energy features and brought up fragments of the host rocks we're looking for, and in some cases mineralization. Here we see fragments of magnetite skarn. The figure on the left there has, you can see green copper carbonates in that. In the center, this little fragment here, we took a sample of it. It assayed 5.7% copper. So nature's done a little sampling for us and brought up fragments of mineralization so we can see those at the surface. And we're pretty sure these fragments have been moved upward 400 to 500 meters within a dike, which is post-mineral. We also know there's mineralization on the property because Kennecott, it's a subsidiary of Rio Tinto, drilled some holes there in the mid-70s. They had pretty interesting results. You can see over here, interesting. We don't have all the information from the drilling, but we have those particular intercepts. And if you look at the figure in the middle there, those purple dots in here are those intercepts that are listed on the left there. So we have drilling in the area. We know there were high-grade intercepts. We don't have all the information from around there, but we recently acquired the information from hole OC1 from a third party, and it confirmed the mineralization shown there and also showed that the mineralization began well above that in the hole and extended to the bottom of the hole. So the mineralized zones are very, very long intervals in these past drilling. See on this side the location of some of those holes, and you take that reference of the land position and where that drilling is for a future slide. Middle last year, we did a geophysical survey, an airborne CTEM survey, and the results of that indicate a conductive anomaly underneath the area that we know from drilling. You can see this is this conductor. It's about 1.5 by 1 kilometers, and it lies just underneath the area of those high intercepts in the historic drilling here, these purple colored discs there. So we have what we believe is a indication of a large porphyry system that is associated with the skarn mineralization that we have pieces of and was hit in the Kennecott drilling. So we're planning right now a 5,000 meter drill program that would be 4 or 5 deep holes to test this area. And if everything goes as we wish, we'll be drilling that hopefully starting in October next month. The project is permitted, and we're just raising funds for this drill program. Kind of putting everything together, this is the surface geology of the area. Again, for reference, that area with the past drilling, historic drilling right there. This red circle is the surface projection of our Z-TEM anomaly. Right, the historic results are right on the edge of that. And if you look at this purple line, that's the footprint of the resolution deposit at a 0.5% copper grade, which is roughly their cutoff. So we have a large-scale exploration target of similar size to resolution. Some of the geology is pretty similar, and I think it's a compelling target that we're going to be drilling there, and we're very excited to be starting that hopefully in October. Thank you.